Welcome to the TaiyangNews Solar Leadership Conversations 2025 here in Shanghai at SNEC. And we are very happy to have with us today Dennis Shi, who is Vice President of LONGi Group, responsible for everything basically that deals with utility scale solar. Dennis, great to see you again.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, cool. So let's focus actually on technology, and one part that's actually now more and more in the media has been somewhat underrepresented, but is now quite a bit on, or increasingly on the radar, and that's back contact cell technology. So traditionally, back contact cell technology has been in the rooftop segment, which makes sense because simply we have high efficiencies, you have limited space, so you want to put as much power on the rooftop as possible. So you go for a technology which has very high efficiencies, and that's back contact technology. Now we're coming to the utility scale segment. And why are you pushing also BC in the utility scale segment?
Yeah, that's a very good question. LONGi exists in the industry. So what's the gene inside LONGi? We always, can reshape the industry for, several years. Every several years we have new technology bring to market. So, yeah, as I mentioned that the back contact, the people always know that it's very high efficiency. However, it's like a luxury technology in the industry. That's why in the past they only can use in the residential market, residential rooftop. But LONGi, I think the major contribution of LONGi, we spend like more than $1 billion investment in R&D in this technology. And now we're building up 50 gigawatt capacity for back contact. The purpose is try to introduce this technology for all scenarios, all segments. That's very important because I think last month when I was in Solar, one of our very big utility customers told me that even for ground-mounted utility projects, back contact bring them minimum 2 to 3 euro cents per watt of the value. So why not? Because we are very confident that cost-wise we can easily beat, the value that we bring to customers. Okay, so that's why for LONGi, we hope that all the customers from all the segments, all the applications can benefit from this very high efficiency technology. And not only high efficiency, basically we have much better performance in reliability side. So that's also very important for, especially for utility scale project.
So if you try to list the different benefits of BC technology for the utility scale segment, so what's the most important one, and so what really matters here?
I think first of all, still, the efficiency. Because basically, for the mass production currently, if you do the apple-to-apple, same dimension with like TOPCon, 5 to 6% capacity more can be installed in the same area. That's a significant increase of the efficiency. Secondly, very importantly, because of the new design or structure of the solar cell, we actually improved reliability of the solar cell significantly, including like in back contact almost there you will never see like a micro crack anymore. Okay, and the working temperature is much lower, so degradation will be lower. I think the reliability side will be ranking the number second. Very important benefit for customers. Mm-hmm. And also safety. Okay, because the working temperature is much lower, so it brings us, less concern from the safety perspective. of course, like for utility, you don't talk a lot about appearance, right? Yeah.
Although I think it could be also nice if the system looks nice. You
I agree.
probably also appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I think on the, I think one point which is also has an importance in utility scale systems is bifaciality. I think here it's somewhat lagging behind. How important is that?
Yeah. So when we so the bifaciality of BC theoretically should be lower than any kind of technology which you put a bus bar on the front side, because it's very logic, right? You bring all the bus bar from front side to back side, then you have less space from back side. However, when you, of course, LONGi is trying the best to increase also the bifaciality from back side. So now it's 75. It's very close. That's 5% lower than the top count. However, if you do the calculation, the backside only perform like 10%, in average 8 to 10%. So then if anyway you want to satisfy a little bit of the performance, so front side 100%, backside 8 to 10%, then you will easily run the mathematics, right? So when we talk about bifaciality, we should talk about entire performance or capacity of the single panel. Front side, back side together. Then that will be the right way to calculate the capacity. Yeah. I don't know whether you get my point.
No, absolutely. And so let's look at all the different varieties and technologies used in the utility scale segment. So I think we see more and more trackers being used now also in the segment. So is there any issue, or is it rather supportive using the trackers?
Yeah, I think surprisingly, most of the new projects for back contact for utility scale projects came from Europe. I mean, European players always, the pioneer of using new technology. I think, so we are also very proud of our European customers. Okay, so you see that we launched the product since last May. Okay, then we start deliver last September. Now, I think in every major market in Europe, so we already have very good reference with very important utility customers. Actually, we have some announcement always, like even gigawatt project with some very big utility customers. Yeah, so customers actually try to use the back contact for most of their pipelines. If the project is in Europe, that's the reality. So I think that's a trend that we cannot stop. So maybe next year in Europe, 90% of LONGi delivery will be back contact.
Okay. And coming back to the trackers, so in Europe, of course, you have also trackers mostly being used in Spain traditionally, but of course now that flexibility is becoming an issue, so that we have so many negative electricity prices, that trackers can help actually bringing the flexibility also. But do you have some data also on how back contact modules work with trackers?
Yeah, I think most of the track record with trackers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the situation in Europe. Like
okay.
Most of the project in Southern Europe, they use trackers.
Okay. So okay, cool.
And also the back contact, I think we have better performance in the lower radiation. That's early morning and late afternoon. That's actually help a lot.
Yes.
Because the electricity price at this area is much better than in the noontime.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And maybe let's look also at floating solar or agri-PV. Have you already collected some experience in that field?
That's, I think, a very important application for back contact. Why? Because for floating, for agri-PV, always they have much, much higher cost on the BOS side. So they would expect the module efficiency as high as they can to lower down their BOS cost. You know, like in Europe or in Southeast Asia, you can see a lot of floating projects. The BOS actually is almost double, even triple than the traditional ground-mounted project. So you see that 5 to 6% higher efficiency. It's basically can help them a lot on the BOS side.
Okay, that's very nice. That's very nice. Let's talk maybe a little bit about what one. It's almost a case study. One important announcement you made recently. So you signed a contract with LONGi, this big French energy company, to deploy HIMO 9 BC modules for utility scale projects across the MENA region. So can you explain a little bit and give some background on this deal?
Yeah, so that's the very first project with back contact in Middle East. So that's, I think, it's very important milestone for LONGi because in their mind, everyone's mind, so Middle East, they require always very high functionality. So people are expecting very low cost on the everything, right? So then 1 gigawatt is a very big project. We try to demonstrate that, you know, back contact can be used in any kind of project. You know, because Middle East utilities project is very extreme as the reference for back contact. It demonstrates that can be used in everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you tried it in one project, and that means LONGi will also use that now also for other projects?
Already. So LONGi already started to use the back contact not only just in Middle East, in Southeast Asia, in their project in Europe, Australia, everywhere.
Okay. So that means the response you're receiving from the big developers is mostly positive on BC, because especially there they always look obviously also at lowest capex, and it's getting also more difficult for those guys with low solar capture rates and also now with very frequent negative electricity prices, so that it's not so easy to sign PPAs anymore these days. So I think even if it's also on the LCOE side important, but I think they still look also at capex. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in general, customers are very happy with our back contact. Of course, they are expecting, you know, less premium on pricing side. I can expect, but so far I think that the premium we set is, I think, can be accepted by most of customers. Okay, I think later on customers can be even happier with us because a lot of let's say, I mean, advantage which is hiding, you know, behind of the data sheet were released after the project being connected or commissioned. So we believe that, so we will follow all the back contact project that we deliver since now. So try to demonstrate, you know, not only just the capex wise, we also can help them a lot on the LCOE wise, you know.
Okay. So what's your shipment targets, if you can share, for the utility scale segment for BC, also in comparison maybe to the rooftop segment?
You mean global market?
Yeah, global market.
I think we have some data internally to simulate, you know, the penetration of BC in the next 3 to 5 years. But we didn't do that by segment. Okay, in general, next year, probably 25%. This year, I think at the end, I think the total penetration should be 15%.
Okay.
Okay, so then every year we have 10% more penetration on back contact among all the project, all the technology. So yeah, so I think in 4 years, back contact can be the, let's say, more than 50%. We call that mainstream.
Okay, I think that's nice final words. So BC becoming the new mainstream in a very short period of time. Thanks, Dennis.
Our pleasure. Let's looking forward to that.